Before we get started tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to a couple of our sponsors. First, the Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get filmed to try out for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on the quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. You can find them on social media at SoCal Warriors, at Twitter, on Instagram, Southern California _Warriors, and on Facebook, Southern California Warriors. Background Check International. Are you looking for a background check, a new hire on? Let Kit Freeman take care of that for you. Kit founded and has managed Background Check International since 1994, and he's here to help you with the screening process. Contact Kit and let him make the hiring process that much easier for you. This business is used for professional background checks and not for use of any crimes such as identity theft or any other illegal activity. You can find them on their website at bcint.com and on Facebook, Background Check International, BCI. Now on to the show. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. In today's episode, we'll be discussing, could the Warriors be the best team in the NBA? Also, stay in the NBA. Who are you taking to fight? The Jokic brothers or the Morris twins? And lastly, college basketball back in full swing. Is Gonzaga the top team in the nation? Or could Duke challenge? Or there's something else out there that we're not talking about yet? We'll discuss that and much more here on Fast Break, here on Live on iSports Radio, your direct feed that is all for our sports, and you're welcome to join us. And join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen, with another episode here on for Fast Break for iSports Radio. Lots to discuss, lots of basketball going on right now. D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
Doing pretty good, man. Tough day. We did lose the Redskins, so rough day with that. My Magic need to get on. Man, right now we are struggling big time. But hopefully we can pick it up. Lost to a shocking Washington Wizards team. A shocking good Washington Wizards team recently. So, but things are good, man. What's going on with you?
Not much. Everything's pretty good. Alabama had a cupcake. The Lakers won not too long ago against the Spurs. And everything's good for the most part. So, and the Titans won. Even though the Saints almost made a comeback. But other than that, all is good. Unless you're like a University of Texas fan. Just taking L's in football and basketball over the weekend.
Oh, yeah. Rough weekend for them. Big rough weekend.
And I think we can stay on the topic of college basketball real quick, D-Lock. College basketball back is in full swing. We've seen over the weekend the top powerhouses, Duke, Gonzaga, UCLA, Baylor, I feel like I'm missing a few others, Alabama, and so forth. D-Lock, let me ask you this. After this weekend's slate of games, do you still consider Gonzaga the top team Do you look to them as a top team, or you got somebody else in mind in that top spot early on in the season? I know it's early, but do you think Gonzaga?
Well, I think Gonzaga is the premier of the top team. For one, we just started talking about the whole Texas rough weekend they had. Well, one reason is they did take that L to Gonzaga this past weekend in college basketball, start the season off. Pretty tight game. End up beating Texas 86-24. And Gonzaga just, what we know what Gonzaga holds. Like they're always going to be that team that's not just really relying on one player to do everything for them. They are starting out 2-0, starting out against Dixie State. So I think they are one of the top teams right now. Now we do know what Duke can hold as well. They did start off their season, with the game against Kentucky, which is a great way to start the season off, going against a big time rival, and they, snuck that one out, which is always one of the great games to watch. They're starting out 3-0. Clearly, they started out going against Kentucky. Their schedule got a little easier going against Army and Campbell later on, but they'll face tougher teams later. Same thing with them. We did see them have a couple guys that they can rely on in the past, but I think this year is going to be a little bit more spread out. We'll see a couple guys take hold and be number one guy for them. But I like Duke. I know what we know of them and what they can be. So expect them to be, a contender as well with Gonzaga. And, like you said, I like UCLA. They had, I think, the most impressive win so far this weekend, I would say.
Yeah.
Against Villanova. That overtime game was a very good game to watch. I'm not sure how many people seen it, but that was a very exciting game all the way down to the end. Now I think it's a little bit different with this team as far as who they're going to lean on the most. Johnny Juzang, or Uzane, how you pronounce his last name, he has been leading his team in points so far this season. So I think he may be the guy that is going to be the one that takes over. He's a junior guard. He's going to be that guy that can make big noise for the Bruins. The biggest thing is he is a guard about 6'7", so you're looking at a Cade Cunningham type guy, a longer guy. We talked about this before. I think we talked about this in the last draft. And we talked about this, I think, even earlier this year and last year. Like this year, in the NBA now, you're looking at these longer athletic guards. Looking at the days of the 6'1", 6'2" guards are starting to slowly fade. You're starting to see these longer guards with the 6'5", the 6'6", 6'7" guards that can play all the way up to the point guard, down to even this power forward position, more so the small forward position. And right now, he has the body frame for it. So these three teams, they're going to be teams to watch out for. But they have the history of doing that. We always see these teams make big pushes in the tournament, even though, like you said, it's early. But I expect for them to be very good teams to watch out for. Now, clearly, the thing about this, and I want to make sure everybody hears this. For those of you that are big-time college basketball fans, make sure you do not forget mark on your calendars November 23rd. Because UCLA and Gonzaga matches up that day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be a matchup. Yeah, that's going to be a matchup that you're going to want to watch. We can possibly see, I don't see on both of these schedules either one of these teams possibly losing before that game. I mean, Gonzaga has Alcorn State, Bellarmine, Central Michigan. I think they'll be undefeated going into that. Then you have Long Beach State, North Florida, and Bellarmine for UCLA. So I think we're going to see one of these teams take their first loss against each other. So marking your calendars again, November 23rd. And I believe that game is in Gonzaga. So that's going to be a very interesting game to look out for. And like I said, then after that, if you just say you just missed that game, right? Let's just say you seen on ESPN and you got the highlights of it. Don't worry. 3 days later, you have Duke and Gonzaga. So we're gonna get into the thick of things very soon in college basketball. It's gonna happen very fast. So, and hell, to be honest with you, Duke is probably in the best position out of both of these teams because they're gonna sit back and watch each other play each other 3 days before that with an undefeated schedule as well. So, for me, this is gonna be a very interesting college basketball season. It starts off fast as you see Duke starting off against Kentucky. We've already seen top 5, top 10 matchups already, in Gonzaga and Texas, and then you had UCLA and Villanova. So very exciting season coming up. But I do like these 3 teams. You know, you have the Duke, the UCLA, Gonzaga. I expect these teams to have a great season. And another thing is, I expect to see somebody come out of these teams that's going to be draft potential players, first round potential. There's a couple of names that we can throw out now, but I think later on down the season, as the season develops, they'll start to make a name for themselves. And the teams like the Orlando Magic will be looking to draft them early.
For me, the big games that happened throughout the week, the Gonzaga Texas matchup, Drew Timme had a monster game. Drew Timme had a monster game down low. Kind of remind me shades of like Tyler Hansbrough days back in North Carolina. Like, Hansbrough wasn't a decent shooter, but he made his bones down low. Missed his post moves down low, all that type of stuff. Drew Timme plays the same stag way. And I kind of wish he kind of works on his mid-range game, at least his mid-range game. Kind of expand out that way to a little bit. I know a 3-point may be asking a lot for him if he want to stay in the league, if he want to play the next level. But if he works on that and stuff like that, I think he'll be great, for his future. You mentioned about Gonzaga's schedule. They got Alcorn State next. Then they got a school named Bellarmine next after that on the 19th. Then you got Central Michigan on the 22nd. And then you got the big matchup like you alluded to. UCLA. Man, that game's going to be something else. And you get a rematch of that Final Four matchup in which UCLA was like close to winning and ended that undefeated streak Gonzaga had. Until Jalen Suggs, kind of altered that. But that's going to be a real interesting game to watch. Getting like the low post presence of Chet Holmgren, Andrew Timme. Can they be enough to kind of, like you mentioned, counteract UCLA's excellent guard play? That's going to be an excellent matchup to keep an eye on. And after that, 3 days later, playing Duke. Like, Gonzaga's going through the ringer a little bit early in the season. And then we ain't going to touch we're going to December for a little bit. December the 4th, they play Alabama. That's going to be a tough matchup there. And you talking about, like you mentioned about guards and stuff like that, big guards, stuff like all that stuff. Alabama got some big guards. They got some athleticism. Can they hang with that? But yeah, man, they looking at the schedule, even going to December, Texas Tech, Washington. A team local here to me, North Alabama. They got a nice little squad. So they got a tough little schedule until they hit the conference play. But I do like what I see from Chet Holmgren so far. But I think team is still going to be the focus for the most part of the season. When we talk about like possible like best players in college basketball, I'm going to throw a name out to people. And y'all probably know this if y'all keep up with basketball and that stuff. But Paulo Banchero. freshman at Seattle, Washington. Don't know how he got away from Gonzaga or whatnot, but in Washington. But freshman, 6'10", 6'9", 6'10". Very great player. Real kind of like the modern day NBA player, the perfect height. I think he's an excellent ball handler. I think he's an excellent shooter. Got the size. I think he got a lot of things going well for him, D-Lock. It's like, okay, we're looking at this kid maybe being the next guy. Now, granted, yes, they kind of struggled with Campbell today. But him leading the way with 18 points, 7 rebounds, I think that's going to carry Duke a long way. And especially in Coach K's last season, too. Let's not forget about that. This is Coach K's last season. And I think he's going to ride these guys a lot harder than maybe some of his best teams back in the day. Because I'm pretty sure Coach K hated how he went out last year. And with the
big time.
And with some of these guys, the kids he got this year, I think he's going to try going a little revenge tour. We talking about in college football, like if Alabama have like a down season and they don't make it to the championship, everybody saying, "Ooh, wait till Nick Saban's revenge tour." Let's talk about Krzyzewski here. I think he got that little bit in him too, and I think he want to at least go out in style.
Yeah. I mean, last year was one of those. I mean, just to take a look at some of the teams they lost to last year was that Michigan State early loss. Obviously a lot of games got canceled for obvious reasons, but some of the losses that they took, hurt, especially going against North Carolina. That's going to hurt. So he's going to definitely be ready this year. But like you said, the roster that he has right now, he's definitely going to come back big time motivated. And you can see they're already starting it now. I mean, that first game against Kentucky, I think that sent a message out to a lot of teams.
Yeah, and playing Kentucky, which I don't know. Would you? Let me see if you agree with this. As Cal lost some of his, I don't say luster, but has the message kind of rung hollow in your sense, or he's not getting the guys that he was accustomed to getting. Everybody's kind of like going here and there now. Like you got, like for example, Muslim out of Arkansas, he's getting some nice recruits. Juwan Howard up in Michigan, he's getting some recruits. Alabama, Nate Oates, they started getting some guys as well. Do you think it's like maybe the message not being bought as it used to, or he's not getting the recruits like he's been getting that kind of take advantage of everybody?
I think it's the second one, actually. The one you just said, I'm thinking, it's the fact that it's not the guys that he usually used to get, man. I mean, you remember there was at one point where literally every time Kentucky got the top guy out of high school, he would play 1 year and leave.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like they would get somebody and they would up and be gone. I mean, this is just a couple names already out of. Let's just say a couple names. You got Bam Adebayo. We're gonna name just a couple people that former Kentucky players in the NBA now. You got Bam Adebayo. You got Devin Booker. You got Anthony Davis. You got Willie Cauley-Stein. You got De'Aaron Fox. You got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You got Tyler Hero. That's just a couple names. And these are guys that are, a lot of people, just off the top of my head, a couple guys that they know. But the list can go on, like crazy. But the thing about it is they're not getting that same group of guys like that anymore. Like, it's like they're not getting that. Remember there were times where they were literally signing, they would come up and we would look at it used to be like the most impressive thing ever you've seen. You would literally see like 3 or 4 guys sign in Kentucky the same day. Top 5, top 10 guys. And that's not happening the same way. Now what you're seeing, like you said, you're getting Juwan Howard grabbing a couple guys. Penny Hardaway.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about him.
Getting a couple. Yeah, so, like, they're kind of going to these different places. And another thing that's going to make it, I think, a little bit more tougher also is the fact that now they have that, now college kids can make money. So there's 2 ways that go with that. I think it's a benefit, honestly, because I believe that now, on the beneficial side, not just for the fact that kids will make money, but more so they will actually stay in school and have they're not in a rush to leave school. They will more so stay in school, get to their degree, which is important to have. Which is now me as a former college athlete, so thankful that I went and got that because it opens up other doors, when the athletic career is over with. So I think that's what it's going to do. But also now you have guys that say, well, hell, maybe we stay 2 or 3 years, the same crew, the same rotation that we have, these same 5 guys. We stay a year, 2 or 3 years. Now we might see the Nick Saban effect in different college basketball. And now you know how in college football where you got to stay at least 3 years and then you leave. But clearly we see that in Alabama. We've seen that at LSU at one point, years back, Oklahoma and Texas, to where USC at one point, to where these kids will just stay 2 or 3 years, and we've been talking this guy up since his freshman year, and now he's that guy his 3rd year. And now they are contending for a title. So right now, I'm thinking that the thing about Kentucky is now they're not getting the same amount of guys, but now these guys are starting to spread out in these different areas. And you know how it is when recruiting. These kids talk. Mm-hmm. So the top recruit is talking to number 2. The number 2 guy is talking to number 7 or talking to number 10, or to be even more specific, the number 1 point guard is talking to the number 1 center. The number 1 small forward is talking to the number 2 point guard or whatever.
Yep.
They're teaming up. So now they're starting to get together and say, well, hell, where you going at? Oh, so you going to UCLA? All right, well, we can go for a run over there at UCLA, or what other school you think about? Those type of conversations. And when they're doing that, now the whole, one and done, that stuff is starting kind of to fade a little bit. And being the fact that these teams are college now is having these kids stay in school and getting paid, now they're not such in a rush to leave. So you can't really go in the house and say, hey, you're going to be one and done and go to the league as much as you could 3 or 4 years back now. Now it's about winning titles, making that push for a tournament. Because to me, and what I've learned in my college years, most of my best friends that I met them through college. So the guys that they're going to be, going to practice with, the guys that they room with, the guys they go to basketball tournaments with, or that basketball games with, they're going to be their best friends. So now, this is something that is very important. And that one and done stuff that we've seen, in Kentucky for so long, it's not necessarily affecting. It's hurting them more than helping them right now. So for me, I just think that's the biggest thing is he's not getting the group of guys that we're usually seeing. Because like I said, usually on signing day, dude, I'm looking at the top 100 guys, or maybe the top 15 to 20 guys, and hell, like 3 or 4 of them are going to Kentucky. That's not the case anymore.
Yeah, it's for Kentucky. I think they got a good class. I mean, for next year coming in, we'll see how that plays out. But just looking at recruiting, even for the past couple of years, you got one kid that's like I forgot his name at the top of my head, but he committed to the University of Wisconsin Milwaukee to play for his dad. And he was a top 10 recruit. His name escapes me at the moment. But top 5 recruit, 6'10", a player that, for example, his dad wasn't coach at University of Milwaukee. Who knows where he'll wind up at. But then, go back to Texas here a little, just for a second. You know, got a new coach down there, Chris Beard. We know about Texas. They can spend money for the athletic budget or the athletic department, and you got to consider that. You know, the way Chris Beard's success is, you got to consider that down the line. You know, Terry, you know, mentioned about the chat, USC, and the recruiting and the hell of recruiting. Coach Andy has done for them. And I think they're gonna get a lot stronger too, to go along with UCLA, and you get that rivalry back up and running, and very competitive. I will say at that. But I think one thing though I kind of noticed, like you just mentioned, these kids talk, and these kids want to play. Hell, going down to that level. If these kids ain't happy in a high school, they'll leave or go to a better situation if they suits them.
That's true.
I mean, I seen here in North Alabama, one kid is at one school. Next thing you know, he popped out of another school, and it's like for going to a higher class. One kid left a private school that always kind of does great in basketball. He went to another school just up the road in 7A. So, these kids, if they don't like any situation or they think they can get an inch better elsewhere, they'll take it. For Kentucky, you know, I'm not saying Cal lost some of that luster, but, you know, I think you got to figure out ways to get going. And that's why I always go back to what Roy Williams did at North Carolina. Yeah, he got those top recruits, but after a while, those top recruits won't come there. He'll grab one here and there, but he was getting those Midland guys, but those Midland guys really carried his program and got him to, you know, multiple championship games. Could have won could have won back to back if, you know, Villanova didn't hit that game winner at the buzzer. But maybe sometimes you gotta change your strategy. How you go about things. Maybe you can't sell the kids on the dream like, I can get you to the NBA. Well, Juwan Howard said so too. Bruce Pearl said the same thing. You know, Chris Beard said the same thing too. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. You know, we'll see how the season plays out for these teams. But this prediction for Gonzaga and UCLA, who you got winning that game?
To be honest with you, I like Gonzaga because I know what to expect from Gonzaga. Like, they're clearly not laying more so on just can't think of his name at the top of my head, Drew Timme. Even though he can, you know, go off at any point, but they are, you know, that team that have more than one person that can put up points, and they're more so of a collection. You know, they can play together well. They got a lot of their players back, so I definitely like Gonzaga. Let me double check and see exactly where that game is. I believe it's in Gonzaga, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so it's gonna be an interesting matchup. It's gonna be tough too, but I definitely like Gonzaga to take that.
Real quick for me, I think I'm in the same boat as you, Gonzaga, as well. I just think if UCLA was going to win that game, they got to take away the post game from there. You know, from Drew Timme, and you just go from there. I think Chet Holmgren, he's got to have a coming out game. I know people kind of hyping up that first game against Delta State, but come on, man. I mean that's Delta State. You know, and you know when I look at that school D-Log, I thought that school was like somewhere in Mississippi. I looked, I was like, oh, it's in Utah. But anyways,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, y'all plucking colleges from any damn where. But anyways, I think this is a game that Chet Holmgren got to show out and kind of like, you know, say I'm here, you know, to contend for that number one draft spot. Put my name out there. So, give me Gonzaga, but it's going to be a close game, though. It's going to be close. Give me the Zags by at least by 4, at least. But before we wrap up the college thing, D-Lock, I do want to shout out the California Baptist University team, the men's team. They won big over Mississippi Valley State last night. Our founder of iSports Radio, Mr. Larry, he was out there with his fiance, Cecilia. They were enjoying the game. And he told me about this team. Like, they got a couple bros on there that play very well for them. Taryn Armstrong and Trey Armstrong, brothers from Tasmania. They played very well last night. And, you know, I'm not saying that SWAC doesn't have the strongest conference. You know, I think Arkansas Pine Bluff may give that conference some issues, but I do want to shout out to them. They won pretty big. They won big. You know, 14 points, 11 rebounds for Aiken. For Armstrong, 12 points, 9 assists for him. And then his brother off the bench had 17 points, 4 for 7 for 3-point land. So shout out to the California Baptist team. And they're 2-0 so far. And they also play, if you look at the schedule, D-Lock, they got Texas down the line in Austin. So we'll see how they shape up down the line with them. But when we transition to the NBA, D-Lock, who do you think is the best team in the NBA right now?
That's a tough one right there. Let me think. If I had to pick one team right now as the best team in the NBA, I'll probably have to say the Golden State Warriors. I mean, right now, the way they're playing, like, they're unstoppable right now. But damn, boy, it's hard. It's hard to pick the Chicago Bulls, boy. And like, I like what the Bulls are doing. Like, they look totally different than last year. Like, totally different. But I'll go with the Warriors. Another reason why I go with the Warriors, too, is because they're missing another key piece. And when he comes back, they're going to be even better. Andrew Wiggins is playing lights out right now, which, you know, the whole not taking a shot thing or getting vaccinated, before that thing, we didn't even think this man would come out and play like this, and he's playing out of his mind right now. They're still missing Wiseman. Klay Thompson isn't playing. Jordan Poole looks like he's going to be a most improved player.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing that good. Steph is being Steph. Hell, Steph might just be up for MVP the way they play. He should be up as a top MVP candidate right now the way that he's playing. And Draymond is being Draymond. This team, I haven't seen them look this good since Kevin Durant left.
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
They're showing, they're showing that they can be as good without Kevin Durant. Now, it is early, but let's not forget this team has, in the history before Durant got there, with the similar pieces that they have now, they still had the best record ever in the NBA. Now, there's a few key pieces that I think that is making this team a hell of a lot better. The biggest piece is Andre Iguodala. Now, he's not one of those players that show up on the stat sheet, you know, as far as a lot of points or a lot of assists. But defensively, him and PJ Tucker kind of fit in the same category for me. Like they may not do a lot on the stat sheet, but their physicality shows a lot on the court, and that's playing very well for them. We don't see him too much of Benjamin, but I think he'll get involved a little bit more. He's the big man that kind of comes in for Draymond when he needs a rest. Comes in and being the fact that James Wiseman is out as well. And another person I'm still waiting to see him kind of crank it up is Otto Porter. But this team, they're cooking right now, man. Like, they look really good. Damian Lee is playing great off the bench as well. So, for me, it has to be the Warriors. But there's a strong push for the Chicago Bulls for me, boy. I ain't gonna lie. Like, the Bulls, they just look like a totally different team right now. And they just had a close matchup a couple of days ago, even though Vooch, between the Warriors and Bulls, even though Vooch didn't play for COVID-specific reasons. But I like what the Warriors are doing, and I damn sure like what the Bulls are doing.
I mean, agree. I'm in the same camp with you. The Warriors, I think, is the best team in the league right now. I just think Curry is playing well. And you mentioned about, Jordan Poole and Damian, Damian Lee. I think last year and last season when we did our season preview series, I kind of touched on those guys stepping up. I think maybe I was a little too early, and this year they really have come on being the key contributors that they should be. Those two guys are playing great right now. And then bringing her on the rookies, I wish they kind of bring the rookies a little bit more because how you drafted them. But with Wade Curry's playing, Wiggins playing pretty, decent in my eyes. And that's just a great recipe for everything. Draymond, granted in that, Chicago game, he almost averaged a triple-double. Got a triple-double in that game. He's playing well. Gary Payton, the second, pretty good find for them.
Oh, yeah.
And the way he plays defense for them as well gives him solid minutes off the bench. That's a very good pickup. And, you brought up like Otto Porter. I wish he played a little bit better. I think they'll go a long way at things. In my eyes. But I say this, D-Lock, if he don't really play better for them, I'd rather see him get the minutes to the rookie Kamunja, to be honest with you.
Kamunja, yeah. Yes, agree with you there. I completely forgot about him for a minute.
I rather if he ain't gonna play up to snuff, get the minutes to the rookie, or split the minutes that you've been giving Porter between Kamunja and Moody, and go from there. Speaking of not playing up to snuff, on the subject of the Bulls, Lonzo Ball, man, I don't know what it is. But it seemed like, granted, as good as the Bulls have been playing early season, he kind of hadn't been hitting like I kind of expected. Scoring wise, I'm not saying he ain't like his younger brother or anything like that, but I thought better he'd be scoring the ball better. In my eyes. And then, you're looking at this game, against the Warriors. When Vooch went out, I said, that front court depth is going to be really shine to the light. And I think I talked about this in our season preview series. That depth behind Vucevic is kind of, looking like, ugh. And then...
Yeah, it looks bad. It looks really bad.
And then it didn't help that Patrick Williams went out for the year. that didn't really show things great. And now with Vooch out for COVID reasons, look at what we got here. Tony Bradley, that game against the Warriors, 14 minutes, 5 rebounds, 3 points. And you just looking down. Alzay Johnson, 21 minutes, 9 points, 7 rebounds. Derrick Jones, 9 points, 6 points, 9 points, 6 rebounds. Not a lot of depth right there, D-Lock. Yeah, I think if this team is going to contend, you need Vooch back, and especially Vooch got to play better than we've presented so far this year. Because looking for them, DeRozan, you talking about MVP candidates, he's got to be up there too early on. He's playing like a man on a mission this year for the Bulls.
Yes, he's playing extremely well. But like you said, with not having any rotation back there, or no depth at the center position, could this be where we see them possibly look when looking to trade Kobe White? Is to add depth there? Because that's like you said. Caruso is playing great right now for me. I think that was a big pickup for them. I sent you the message how he had that podcast he did, or that conversation that he had about how pissed he was about what the Lakers offered him. He's playing like a man on a mission as well. But when they have to look for trades with Kobe White, I'm expecting them to try to find depth at the center position.
Well, speaking of Caruso, as a Laker fan, seeing that they really itching to bring him back, kind of really pissing me off. My only reason thinking that they didn't really were itching to have him back because they had Horton Tucker in the fold. I think that's the only reason why they didn't really bring him back. But hell, you can have both of those guys in the squad. In my eyes, that's just me. And then you have to, bring back all these, bring in all these older guys and stuff like that. My eyes. Take a flyer on Malik Monk if he want to come here or not. But, take a flyer on him. You got Younger in the backcourt, along with Russell Westbrook. If you want to bring in Wade Ellington as a veteran, as a shooter off the bench, cool. If not, cool, whatever. And you go from there. But damn, that's the only reason why I think the Lakers didn't do that, because they had Horton Tucker kind of, we'll just go with the younger guy, in a sense. Not the guy that's been playing, all NBA defense for us for the past couple years. I'm not saying Horton Tucker don't have potential and stuff like that, to be that type of guy, even though he has came back today and played. Let's see, did he start today? Came in and started for the Lakers tonight against the Spurs. 17 points, 4 rebounds. Not bad for coming back from injury, but still, we talk about the Lakers defense and stuff like that in past episodes. You still kind of wish you had that with Mr. Caruso, even if Horton Tucker was out with injury.
Well, the Lakers, the thing about the Lakers is, we know what the biggest deal with them as far as LeBron, but them not re-signing Caruso clearly seemed like they were just cleaning house and trying to start over with a couple guys to put around LeBron and Anthony Davis. So I think the guy's name is Austin Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
The guy they drafted. He's kind of what they feel as if, I think LeBron has said that he kind of reminds him of a Alex Caruso type of player. And another thing that they want to surround Anthony Davis and LeBron with, and it makes plenty sense because of how they did last year, was they wanted shooters. So going again, Malik Monk. Going to get a Kent Bazemore who has yet to show up yet. Did too much. Hasn't done anything really as far as the signing right now. But going to get a Kent Bazemore, going to get Melo, who we both agree is playing outstanding right now. Dude looks like he's playing in the New York Knicks jersey right now, how Melo's looking. So for me, they kind of had a different way they went about it. But see, with that, Caruso is making, to me, I think Caruso is making a bigger impact in Chicago than he ever did in LA. Like, even though it's an early season, like, look at the minutes that he's getting. Like, he's on the court more, a hell of a lot more. And what Chicago did this offseason, they brought a lot more defense.
Mm-hmm.
They went and got Lonzo. They went and got Caruso. They went and got DeMar DeRozan. They went and got a lot more defense. And, like, the things that they're doing, like, I'm see if I can double check their schedule really quick, because they already have, got a couple wins on the season that is like, damn, like, the Bulls beat y'all. So, they got a game tonight, clearly, against the Clippers. It's going to be kind of tough. But the thing about it is I like what they're doing because they got the scores in the Zach LaVine, in the Vooch. They wanted to get a lot of defenders, and that's what they're doing with the people that they have. Going to get a Caruso, going to get a Alonzo, which, like you said, true enough, we're not seeing Alonzo be a very effective shooting, but he's being more so of a defender. I think he's playing more of that defensive role for them, more being a shooter. Like, they beat Dallas. They beat Brooklyn. They stood toe-to-toe and beat Boston, Utah. These are the teams that we consider that can go deep in the playoffs. And these are the teams that they're not beating just a Pelicans or a Detroit type team or a Toronto team that's rebuilding. They're beating some teams that is going to go pretty far. Now, Golden State is the one loss that they, was pretty tough, I believe. Obviously Philly, but that loss to Golden State here, and I think it did play a part in not having a Vooch. But Golden State, as I just admitted, is the best team in the NBA right now. So, for them to be playing as well as they are, I think Caruso has a huge part with that, and I expect that to be the case moving forward. It just seems like, for me, bro, I ain't gonna lie, it seemed like the East just got a hell of a lot harder, because I wasn't even expecting the Wizards to be this good.
Me either.
Yeah, so, like, dude, like, you're looking at Kyle Kuzma look like a totally different guy in Washington right now. You know what Trez is, but, I mean, you put some other pieces around Bradley Beal, and these guys just look like a totally different team. Spencer Dinwiddie, we already knew what kind of player he was. You just put him in a role where he's the main point guard, and he looks a hell of a lot better. So, all in all, like I said, the East is getting better, but the Bulls are playing very well, and Caruso is looking like a great addition for them.
Yeah. Boston, though. Ugh. Before we talk about the Jokic brothers, I don't know what's up with Boston. It's like, ugh. It's like, times they look good, times they don't. Washington, I think, more the surprise team in the league. And they're like this, looking at the standings, they're the second best team in the NBA. Just kind of like a half game ahead of Phoenix. But, yeah, Kuzma looks very great. Montrez kind of is back to that, what he was with the Clippers about 2 years ago. That's great for him and his confidence. Kind of makes you why the Wizards extended Gafford the way they did. That was just kind of odd, but they playing great. Dinwiddie, I think once he gets his legs more under him, I think you'll see that backcourt really, really shine. And then, just looking down the standings, the Denver Nuggets, even without Jamal Murray, they still playing pretty well. Michael Porter's out for a little bit. But they still contending, playing strong with Jokic. Which brings me to this, D-Lock. There was a little kerfuffle this past week between the Nuggets and the Heat, where the Nuggets won the game 113-96. With Jokic, having a triple-double. And FanDuel All-Star Will Barton had 25 points in the meantime. But amidst all that, D-Lock, one Jokic had a dust-up with one Markieff Morris. Now, if y'all ain't seen this yet, Markieff, as they going down the court, gave an elbow to Jokic. Jokic took exception to that and proceeds to lay out Markieff Morris. Now, did Markieff hamming up a little bit on the ground? He sure did. But D-Lock, let me ask you this. Do you want to mess with those Jokic brothers, though? I was like, I seen pictures of them, like, ooh, boy. Y'all, I just take my money and go about my business. But that's me. What you think?
Yeah. Well, for me, let's just think about how this happened. Now, it's Marcus Morris, right?
No, Markieff.
That's Markieff. Okay, I get them confused. So Markieff Morris is the one that threw the shot to Jokic.
Yes.
We've seen, people try to foul him hard sometimes or try him like he's not going to do anything. So for me, I'll say this right now. I didn't have a problem with him charging back at him.
Nope.
Because for one, that hard charge alone, dude, you could I'm almost pretty sure I've watched enough basketball to know that Jokic is right-handed, so he shoots with his right hand. You charge at him, with his arm up, basically with his arm up, so you could have hurt anything on the right side of his shoulder, therefore injuring him for months or whatever. So that by itself would have pissed me off alone. And then it's that hard of a foul that late in the game. So it seems like that's like a check, to see if you could do that on somebody. So I don't blame Jokic for coming back and charging back at him. Now, everybody said, well, he waited until he turned his back. But the first thing that Markieff Morris did was turn his back after he hit him.
Yep.
So he came at him and he charged at him to let him know, bro, that's not happening. We don't rock like this. Not this way. Like he said in his interview, he felt wrong about it, but he got to protect himself. Cool. So that means the next person that thinks about coming at him sideways, they're going to remember, damn, I remember last time Markieff Morris tried him like that. He gave dude whiplash. So I'm not even finna try Jokers like that, which is, foul him, but not that hard of a foul. So, cool with that. Now, we know how the Morris brothers are. Very physical, tough guys. They do take the hard fouls. And, of course, Marquise's brother is going to protect him. But Jokic has brothers as well. I'm not sure if people remember, but the game with Denver and Phoenix, when Jokic's brother was actually at the game, they were charging that they had an issue with Jokic on the court. I believe it was Devin Booker and a couple other guys. And you clearly can see the Jokic brother ready to go on the court.
Yeah. And then Devin Booker trying to act tough. Like, dog, you play basketball, you train, and then you go hang out with the Jenner girl, man. The Jenner girl. I forgot which one he dating. But come on, man. You ain't
that guy.
You ain't that guy.
Yeah, so for me, and Jokic was from suburbia I can't even say it right. Serbian, right?
Yep.
So these guys are in a different culture. How to do things. Brother's not from here, clearly. I believe his brother made a Twitter specifically to respond to the Morris brother tweet and respond to him. So that kind of situation, you have to understand what you're getting into, because the Jokic brother is not looking at it as just a basketball thing. Like, they have a totally different mindset of how they're going about it. So even with Jimmy Butler, saying that he's going to meet him after the locker room, X, Y, and Z, that sounds cool. That looks cool. But you're putting yourself in a situation that is going to go outside of basketball. Right? So, yeah, that kind of stuff, like, for me, that charge alone, like, Jokic has to come back and charge at this dude and foul him back. Even if you got to get fined for it, even if you got to get suspended for it. Like, you got to let him know, like, man, you're not going to just be pushing me around like that. Like, that's just not, that's definitely a no-go. So, but to try to get into it with those guys, I think I would have to pass. Definitely.
Yeah, I was like, ooh. Because they act like they have nothing to lose. Even though they got a lot to lose, about hurting their brother's reputation. If that makes sense. So I was like, ooh. And I'm not saying the Morris brothers are punks. And, we heard stories about them pull up in the Rolls Royce Phantom in Phoenix, beating up that dude talking about their mama. Or they beating up, the Kansas football team and stuff like that. We heard those stories. But I was like, you may have met your match. But I don't know. And to Jimmy Butler, too. I mean, if y'all see the video, I mean, he's right there, arm's length to Jokic. Like, he could have said something or did something then. I mean, like I said, I think Markieff was sitting there just hamming it up on the floor. But I was like, damn. If you're gonna do something there while you were close by. If not, ain't worth, trying to, put more flames to it and lose $30,000 at the same time. That's just me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at that point, that's how I see it. You trying to burn a hole in your pocket for more money.
I get it though. Trying to stand for your teammate, trying to look like a badass in a sense, but not worth it. You and Udonis Haslem, who so he's never still sitting on the NBA bench. But anyways, that's been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. D-Lock, how can the people find you on social media?
You guys definitely find me at Black-813, Twitter and Instagram. Our Bucks are 6-3 right now. As crazy as it is, I shouldn't be too bothered about that, but I am. But I will be talking about that on Twitter, so let them know they can find you at, man.
You can find me on Twitter at Spawn4288. That is Spawn4288. Also, you can follow us on the show on Twitter at Fastbreak at IESR. That's Fastbreak IESR as well. Also, please do check out IESportsradio.com. where you catch all the playback of this show, but our other shows on our network as well. We got a brand new show in Detroit that just started off this past week, and along with other new shows along the network. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight. Also, do check the holiday season in full swing, in a sense. Do check out esportsradio.com for all your gift purchases, shirts, ornaments, banners, all things of that nature. So do check that out. We'll be back next week talking about the world of hoops, NBA, college, prep, whatever. But till then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week and talk to y'all then. We out.